Hey, good morning. It's Larry Toussaint here. This morning we are going to talk about something pretty interesting here. It's called fundraising for law enforcement, or quote unquote telemarketing. Several times in my life, I have worked for two different fundraising outfits. One in Austin, Texas, which was called Civic Development Group, and the other one here in Baton Rouge, which is called Public Appeal. And while making those calls, I've ran across all kinds of interesting things, mainly the level of stupidity in some of these people. We're going to go ahead and get started off with the common rejection, which of course is, I'm not interested. Sometimes, or most of the time, when you read your presentation to these people over the phone, at any given abrupt moment, they could say, I'm not interested. Most of the time, once they say that, they immediately hang up, not giving you a chance to rebuttal. But if you're lucky, you can rebuttal. And one of my favorite rebuttals, of course, was, and it's not written in the script, when they say they're not interested, I'd be like, what are you not interested in? Used to, they would say, whatever it is you're selling or making any purchases. And I'd be like, well, I'm not selling you anything. If you would listen, you'd know what I'm talking about here. Now they've gotten bolder. Whenever they say they're not interested, they'll be like, I'll say, what are you not interested in? And they'll be like, whatever it is you have to say. And one time I had to hang up on one of them because it was right there on the tip of my tongue, ready to come out. And I was like, I wanted to say, bitch, you don't know what I have to say. But one time I just said, but you don't know what I have to say. And she was like, and I don't care. So I just hung up on her before I said, fuck you then. But and there was one time I made a call here in Baton Rouge, and this lady kept saying, I'm not interested, and I kept badgering her, and she's like, what is it about I'm not interested you don't understand? And I told her, well, it's not so much I don't understand you're not interested. It's just that, well, I'm not interested in you not being interested. She did not like that at all, so she told me to take her off the list. But hey, since it was law enforcement, mainly that I was soliciting funds for, what would be funny is if one of these people's, if their house was getting broken into, and they picked up the telephone, hit 911, and said, my house is getting broken into, and the call taker just said, I'm not interested, and abruptly hung up on them. Gotta think about that now. Oh, and the same thing with the firefighters. If your house burns down and they say, I need the fire department out here, we're not interested. Click. And of course, one of the biggest things I've seen were these people that they automatically assume that just because their phone is ringing, it's somebody wanting money. There have been times I'd call some people and I'd be like, yes, this is Larry Toussaint with, and they'd cut me off. Larry, I don't have any money. And I'd be like, did I ask you for any money? No, but you're going to. And one time I said, did I ask you for your money? And the lady was like, don't ever call me again since you're going to act like that. And I'm like, no, I'm not trying to act like anything. It's just that I just said my good name and my good name alone, and you said you don't have any money. I mean, if you're going to automatically assume just because your phone is ringing, it's somebody wanting money, maybe you should stop paying the phone bill and just get rid of the damn thing. That way, nobody will ask you for any money. And another one I've seen, the people that feel the need to explain their dirty laundry. Like sometimes I could say the first paragraph of the introduction of the presentation, and they'll be like telling me all kinds of stories about their medical expenses, their finances, everything, things I don't even want to know. And I'll be like, well, I'm sorry that you're going up against this, that, and the other, but maybe next year. And then reschedule them for next year. But the thing is this, pledge up or hang up. I don't have time to listen to it. I got other calls to make. And another thing we would call commonly are businesses. And this is the thing about businesses. whenever we get someone on the phone from a business, the main objective for us is to get them, the person who answers the telephone, personally signed up and involved. And they try to cop out by saying things like, I'm not at liberty to do this. I have to have corporate approval. And you try to explain to them, no, this is something you can personally help out with. I can send it to your home address and in your name so you can help out. This has nothing to do with your job. But yet, they still say, I still have to have corporate approval. I mean, it's like, so you mean to tell me if you're at your home, it's 2 o'clock in the morning, and you got to take a shit, you have to hold it in until you get corporate approval? I mean, you might as well. And there was one time I actually called this lady out of work, and I was having a bad day at the job already with all the constant rejection. Well, I got this one lady on the phone, and I was badgering the shit out of her. I bet she probably cried when she got off the phone because I'm trying to do the presentation. And she's like, all she said was, I'm not interested. I'm like, no, not the company, you personally. This has nothing to do with your job. And I'm like, ma'am, it's going to your house. And I'm still going on. And she's like, I'm not interested. Don't pester me. Click. I wish I could have seen her face when she did that. And sometimes if we get a peon on the phone and we just can't get through to them, then we'll ask to speak to a manager. And they'll go on about, what do you want with the manager? And I'll be like, excuse me, your job is not to screen calls. You're not getting paid to do that. I asked to speak to your manager. That is your cue to drop everything you're doing and go fetch your manager. And they'll hang up and I'll call right back. Then they end up getting the manager. Now, does the manager pledge? Maybe, maybe not. And another thing that really grinds my gears about the whole thing are these damn kids. Because the parents will actually, when the phone rings, they will send their kids to the phone. They use their kids as not only the answering machine or the caller ID. Yeah, the kid will answer the phone. Hi, can I speak to your mom or your dad, please? Who is this? This is Larry Toussaint. Can I speak to your mom or your dad? What do you want? Go get the people who birthed you. And sometimes the kids will hang up. I'm like, no, I know that snot-nosed little fucker did not hang up on me. So what do? Call them back manually and just harass and disrupt the phone line till I get a parent. Sometimes you got to do it twice, sometimes 3 times. Hell, sometimes 8 or 9. And yes, the parent will be pissed off when you finally get them, and the parent will say something along the lines of, what are you doing calling back like this? My child hung up on you. That is your cue to take us off the list. And I'll be like, no, legally, if we do not speak to an adult household representative, we can call back until we do. Your child is not old enough to make your decisions. And of course, we also get, okay, when I worked for the outfit in Austin, we would get wrong numbers. But this is the thing, there's no such thing as the wrong number. Anytime we'd call someone and call out a name like, yes, John Doe, I think you have the wrong number. And we'd say, I'm pretty sure I have the right number, just the wrong name. But hey, you can help, and then start the presentation. And of course, one time, even here in Baton Rouge, now the way our script was set up, we didn't call out a name. I would say, yes, this is Larry Toussaint with Public Appeal giving you a call for Louisiana Union Police Association. You doing okay today? I didn't hear a name being called out in that, did you? I didn't think so either. But yet, somehow, some way, there was one time I got this woman that said, I think you got the wrong number. And I'm like, who did I ask for? She's like, I don't know, but you got wrong number. I'm like, no, 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 no. There is no wrong number. This is a community outreach. And then I said the whole thing again. You have wrong number. No, I did not call a name. There's no such thing as the wrong number. Then I said, are you Mrs. Doe? no, I'm not Mrs. Doe. I'm like, there, you see? Exactly. I didn't even ask for Mrs. Doe. So there, I don't have the wrong number. Now, let's try this again. And then I said the first paragraph again, and she's like, you have wrong number. And I just said, are you stupid or something? And she's like, you? I'm like, no, because I explained to you what I'm doing here, and you're not listening. But that's okay. We'll call you back later. And I rescheduled her for another call, which would probably hit in about a week or so, depending on how thick the campaign is. And there was one time I got these in Austin, because I was already having a bad day at work. And after hearing wrong number so many times and getting rejected by it, I'd call out the person's name, and they'd say, I think you have the wrong number. And it kind of my reaction reminds me of something Steve Smith from American Dad would do. Because as soon as she said, I think you have the wrong number, I just said, no, I do not. I just have the wrong name, but it's okay. You can help. And then I just went ahead and plowed right into it. Yes, indeed. And another thing that gets on my nerves about it, answering the phone at inopportune times. For example, I'm headed out the door. I'm putting my kids to bed. I'm eating dinner. I am so sick of hearing that. I'm eating dinner. To me, those are cop outs. Because once they've said that, it's not like you can call them back when they're done eating, because that goes under harassment. So I would normally say, well, that's okay because the reason for the call is, and just plow right into it. And there was one time I called this woman. She said she's putting her kids to bed. Well, there's two instances like that I can think of, but this one, she said, I'm putting my kids to bed. And I just said, well, that's okay because, and I just plowed right into it. I'm taking my time, hesitating with the presentation, talking all silly. And she got pissed off whenever I got to the part where I was talking about the new 2010 booster window decal. I'm like, and now we're getting ready to send you the new 2010 booster window decal. And at that point, I could just hear her go, oh, God, click. And there was another instance where this woman said she was putting her kids to bed. And I just said, oh, well, why did you answer the phone? And then she just went off on a tangent. Excuse me, you son of a bitch. I thought I was being polite to you, you fucking jerk. And I thought it would be rude if I just let the phone ring. And I'm like, well, that's okay. Because the reason for the call is, and just went right into it. And another lady told me one time she's eating dinner. And I just went ahead and said, no, that's a cop out. And I hear her tell her husband, these guys are just so rude. Click. But usually when they say they're eating dinner, I'll be like, what you cooking? Smells good. And sometimes they'll just say, food. I'm like, well, I'd hope so. But yeah, that's one of the common ones. Oh, and we were calling a campaign out at the office here in Baton Rouge. We were calling Alabama. That state gave me the red ass. But there was a night that Birmingham was under a tornado warning. And I got so sick of hearing about it. People were answering the phone. They were like, we are under a tornado warning. Why are you calling us? And I said, you are under a tornado warning. What are you doing answering the phone? And no, they did not like that at all.